Today, Robinhood reports a significant drop in crypto trading in the second quarter. New research finds that tweets from Elon Musk and Twitter bots drove up the price of FTX-listed altcoins. And Raj Gokal of Solana weighs in on the SEC, naming its native token and the agency's lawsuits against Binance and Coinbase. Welcome to CNBC's Crypto World. I'm Mackenzie Sigalos. Digital currencies are holding steady this morning. By noon Eastern, Bitcoin traded around $29,200, Ether traded at $18.38, and Solana slipped below $23. Okay, let's talk about the top stories. Robinhood's second quarter earnings report reveals a significant drop in crypto trading revenue. Robinhood's transaction-based revenue actually fell overall, but crypto was the main driver, tumbling 18%, partly because fewer customers placed trades. On the earnings call, Robinhood attributed the figure to the turmoil in the space over the past year or so, which led to a flight to safety. Back in June, Robinhood delisted Solana, Polygon, and Cardano tokens from its trading platform. The SEC named those altcoins in their lawsuits against Binance and Coinbase. Now, the crypto-friendly online trading app did, however, manage to maintain more than $11 million in crypto under custody, matching the number held at the end of Q1. Robinhood's overall second quarter results exceeded analysts' expectations, even with the downturn in the platform's trading operations in the mix. But its surprise profit was overshadowed by a loss in monthly active users that sent the stock sinking after hours. Next, DOJ officials are reportedly considering fraud charges against Binance, but are too worried about the cost to consumers. According to Semaphore, prosecutors want to hit the crypto exchange with fraud charges, but worry that if they indict Binance, it could cause a run on crypto like the one that followed the collapse of FTX. Prosecutors are reportedly considering alternatives like fines in the hopes of avoiding panic among U.S. investors. Now, despite growing pressure in the U.S., Binance has been expanding abroad, including to Japan and Dubai in recent days. We reached out to the DOJ and Binance for comment, but didn't hear back right away. Last, a new study published yesterday finds rampant bot activity on Twitter helped pump the price of FTX-listed and Alameda Research-traded cryptocurrencies. Researchers at the Network Contagion Research Institute also found that bot activity and price action significantly increased after Elon Musk shared tweets about two altcoins. One example, a Musk tweet from May 13 featuring Pepe the Frog memes led to a more than 50% increase in the price of altcoin Pepe within 24 hours. The findings raise significant questions about social media-driven market manipulation in the broader crypto markets. The study also highlights the considerable challenge Musk faced in reining in bot activity that has existed on the social media platform for years. Without providing data, Musk has claimed that bot activity has dropped since he took over the company. X, formerly known as Twitter, did not respond to CNBC's request for comment. Sam Bankman-Fried and his team were aware of the influence that Twitter had on the crypto markets based on the FTX founder's comments in prior interviews. All right, speaking of altcoins, let's talk more about Solana for our main story. The blockchain platform's native token, Sol, is actually up nearly 3% since the SEC sued Binance and then Coinbase. Those lawsuits named Sol as allegedly being an unregistered security. And as we mentioned earlier, some platforms like Robinhood then stopped supporting the trading of Solana and other tokens. I spoke with the co-founder of Solana today about those developments. So last time we had you on Crypto World, it was early 2022. We'd just come off the crazy run-up in 2021. Things were looking bright for crypto. And then you sort of know what happened last year. So what was 2022 like for Solana? What were the biggest lessons for you?
Yeah, in 2022, Solana, just like the year before, was, pretty far and away the fastest growing blockchain network by users, by developers, and by the number of use cases that were being tested simultaneously on the network. I think 2022 was a big stress test for the network. But also it was a stress test for the community because with things like the collapse of FTX, the confidence in crypto was really strained. But I think just like cycles before, a lot of folks in crypto that have been around since 2014, 2017 know that kind of the most impressive and interesting products get built when the hype and noise dies down. And so what we've seen over the last 6 to 8 months is just really intense building, really high signal, high quality builders. And the user experience is just improving relentlessly because the underlying infrastructure is so much more battle tested. So that's what's exciting coming up. There's always another cycle. And I think this time around, it'll be just that much more, ready for mainstream.
So if I think about one of the biggest challenges for Solana from the outside, it was downtime. You had pretty big outages and only one this year. So what kind of work have you been doing to address that concern from users and developers?
Yeah, as I mentioned, that downtime for Solana was largely a function of being the first high throughput blockchain that was built from the ground up for performance. And then seeing the most growth and the most stress testing from a variety of use cases in 2021 and 2022. So it was pretty high profile. Since then, almost every proof of stake blockchain has gone down, but Solana has had 100% uptime for most of this year. And that's really off the back of a series of upgrades that started in 2021. It's very, difficult and complex to upgrade blockchains, as you saw with things like Ethereum making the switch to proof of stake. With Solana, some pretty heavy duty upgrades got pushed. And what we've seen now is all these use cases are at the levels they've been at and sometimes exceeding them from 2021 and 2022. And the network is just performing admirably. And so we're excited to see, where the next stress test comes from.
So if we're looking at 2023's challenges, it's obviously regulation. Solana was implied to be a security by the SEC in one of its many legal actions this year. The Solana Foundation came out pretty directly and said it's not a security. Now there's a question about whether the courts will side with the SEC or not, now that we have this sort of competing set of rulings out of New York. What's your view on the likelihood of Solana being deemed a security, and how are you approaching that risk in the US?
Well, I'm hesitant to comment on, ongoing court cases, especially ones where we're not participating or involved. But I think the tenor of the crypto industry right now is pretty optimistic, especially after things like the Ripple ruling. And I think the pressure in places like Congress with congressmen like McHenry and Richie Torres is showing a lot of really positive signs. It looks like Congress folks understand the value of crypto. Their constituents are calling them every day, talking about use cases and products that they care about. And I think there's a lot of legislative pressure to create, more clear and actionable guidelines for how to operate in crypto. And that's what everyone wants, right? We just want clarity. I think lack of regulatory clarity has held the industry back for several years. And it seems like we're on the verge of getting that, hopefully from Congress.
Some crypto exchanges like Robinhood actually delisted Solana after it was mentioned in those SEC suits. Has the foundation been in touch with them to discuss the issue? Have you addressed any of the concerns that they expressed?
I think it's, pretty understandable for U.S. businesses that are not primarily crypto businesses. We see this in every market cycle. Crypto tourists, businesses that have very small product lines in crypto kind of recede when it gets hot in the kitchen. My understanding of folks like Robinhood and other products is that these were, pretty small product lines. I think the more important thing is, folks like Coinbase, Binance, and other exchanges that represent the largest majority of trading volumes and activity for users. They're not taking any meaningful action that I think limits consumers' access to these assets. So that's great to see. And that's what I expect to continue to see. I think it is, though, it should be important for, legislators and users to recognize that creating pressure for innovators to move offshore is not a great thing. That's not a great result. And right now, it does seem like some of that hesitance from centralized actors in the US is pushing people to think about their crypto strategy or their product launches as primarily offshore first. And that's really disappointing to see. So Solana was started out of San Francisco, where we live in America, Anatoly and I. And I think, crypto was really born in the US, and we want to see it stay here.
Last question for you. Looking ahead, what's on the roadmap for Solana that devs or users should look forward to? What are you building, for example, in spite of the scrutiny for the entire industry right now?
There's really a number of things. I think one that we haven't talked about already is Firedancer. So Jump Trading is creating a separate validator client from scratch. It's benchmarked at a few 100,000 transactions per second. Solana so far has been benchmarked up to tens of thousands of transactions per second. And over the past several months, it's averaged about 4,000 transactions per second of demand. But at hundreds of thousands, you could put NASDAQ and Visa and Google on chain, and it would still be consumer grade and performant. So I think that's, again, the focus that Solana has always had as an ecosystem, as a community, is just making this as cheap and fast as possible and continuing to push on that front to see what new use cases get unlocked. Because by our opinion, tens of dollars, hundreds of dollars per transaction is just not what it's going to take to scale crypto to millions of users.
Okay, that's all for Crypto World today, but we will be back again tomorrow, so we'll see you then.